We're now going to explore how to use a calculator to solve trigonometric equations that are not on the unit circle. So let's review one more time. If you are using arcsine, arccosine, or arctangent, or sine inverse, cosine inverse, or tangent inverse, what quadrants will you get answers from in your if you use your calculator? Well, remember, arcsine will give you answers from quadrant 1 or quadrant 4, but the quadrant 4 answers will be negative answers between 0 and negative pi over 2 or negative 90. Arc cosine will give you answers from quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, and arctangent will give you answers from quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. Again, you will get negative answers from quadrant 4. But when we are solving equations, usually we are solving those equations over 0 to 2 pi or 0 to 360. So if we look at these three questions right here, how many answers are there to sine of x equals 1/3, cosine is negative 2/5, or tangent is negative 4? How many answers will we get from 0 to 360 for all three of those? Well, we're going to get two positive angled answers. The problem is we need two positive answers between 0 and 360, but the arcsine or cosine inverse or whatever is only going to give us one answer, and it might not even be positive. So we're going to have to figure out how to use the calculator along with some other things that we already know to solve these problems. So we're going to start with sine of x is equal to 1/2 on 0 to 360. Now, I'm going to start this problem by using the unit circle. So let's go to the unit circle. Where is sine 0 to 360 degrees? Well, we can see that where is sine 1/2 between 0 and 360 degrees? So we can see that that happens at pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6 in radians, but we're going to use degrees today. So the answer to this question is going to be 30 degrees and 150 degrees. So we already know, okay, x is going to be the two angles, 30 degrees and 150 degrees. We know those from easily looking at the unit circle. But what if we didn't have the unit circle? What if we weren't able to use that? How could we use a calculator? Well, remember, when you have a sine function, you plug in an angle and out comes a ratio, opposite over the hypotenuse side. But if we know the ratio and we want to know the angle, we can use our calculator and do sine inverse of 1/2, and that will give us the angle that has a sine of 1/2. We are going to use the Desmos scientific calculator. We're making sure that we're in degree mode, not radian mode. We go to the function button and we can do sine inverse. Go back to main and you can go ahead and type a 1/2 into this. And what do we get? Well, 30 degrees is our answer. So sine inverse is going to give us 30 degrees. The answer that comes out of our calculator, we're going to call this the reference angle. All right. Now, remember, our answers need to be between 0 and 360 degrees. Is 30 degrees between 0 and 360? It is. So 30 degrees is our first answer. But remember, we should get two answers. So we're going to go to our old friend, all students take calculus. What two quadrants should we be getting our answers in if sine is a positive number? Where is sine a positive number? Well, that's in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. We already have a quadrant 1 angle of 30 degrees, so we need a quadrant 2 angle of 30 degrees. So here is our quadrant 2 terminal side, and if we are looking, what we're looking for is what is this angle right here all the way there. Well, how are we going to figure that out? We're going to figure that out by drawing the reference triangle. And the reference angle, remember, that is by the origin in the reference triangle that connects the terminal side to the x-axis. So 30 degrees is this angle right here. And we need to know that red bit. So how are we going to get that? Well, if you look, if we go from here to here, that's 180 degrees. But that red bit stops short by 30 degrees. So we're going to do 180 degrees minus 30 degrees, and that will give us our 150 degrees, which is that red angle, and our second answer. So you can see the way that we're going to be doing this is kind of finding a reference angle, using all students take calculus to figure out our quadrants, and then using that reference angle to find our final answers. Let's try another one. Tangent is -1. So we're going to use tangent inverse of -1 and see what is the answer that comes out of our calculator. So again, go to function, tangent inverse, go back to main. We're going to put in a -1, close the parentheses, and it looks like that is a -45 degrees. Now, the problem with -45 degrees is it's not between 0 and 360. And in fact, 45 degrees is not one of the answers to this question. So the reference angle is going to be the absolute value of whatever comes out of that inverse trig function that we do. So our reference angle that we're going to use for this question will be 45 degrees. Now, let's think all students take calculus. Where is tangent negative? Well, tangent is going to be negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. So I need to draw an angle in quadrant 2. Try that again. And it will have a reference angle of 45 degrees. So we're looking for this angle right here. What is that angle? Well, remember in a quadrant 2, we're going to take 180 minus that reference angle, and that's going to give us our 135 degrees, which is the first answer we're looking for to this problem. Now, our second angle will be in quadrant 4, so it's down here. Our reference triangle connects it to the x-axis, and it has a reference angle of 45 degrees. Now, what is the angle we're looking for? We want it to be 0 to 360. So we're looking for this angle that goes almost all the way around in a circle. In fact, it's just 45 degrees shy of a full circle. Well, 360 degrees is a full circle. Minus the 45 degrees is going to give us 315 degrees as our second angle. So 135 and 315 are the two angles that have a tangent of -1. And if we go to our unit circle, we can see, in fact, 135 degrees, square root of 2 over negative square root of 2, that's 1. And negative square root of 2 over square root of 2 for the 315, that is a -1 as well. So we can see we have found our correct answers.